Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and hopefully we are streaming live. Yeah, it looks like we're streaming live over on all the forums. We missed last week because of my crazy technical difficulties, and about $800 later, here we are. Gotta love it when that kind of thing happens, John, but sometimes...
One of those rabbit holes.
Oh, dude. It was just one of those things where nothing I was doing was right, and if I was going to replace the motherboard, it was going to take time, and if then that was wrong, and I had to replace the processor. So I just bought like 90% of a computer. And
that's what I'm like. I got a really nice Mac laptop, but like it doesn't have the power to do. I'm finding, what I need it to do for streaming and stuff.
Well, maybe
so do I suck it up and do I just get a PC just for streaming and editing and just have somebody who's like super nerd put it together for me?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe I make a road trip out to you, because really it looks like all that this one needs, my old one needs, is a motherboard. So maybe we get a motherboard, I replace it, and I bring it over, and we do a video setup, and we get you really going, and finally up to snuff on all the multi cameras. We'll even
multi-cameras. I need it.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. We'll figure it out after all the riots that are about to happen. So,
yeah. I did. Yeah, I went through my predictions last night of what scenarios would play out.
Have you seen basically every major city is boarding up right now?
Yeah, they're boarding up, and then the press is prepping everybody. Like, and the DNC everybody's prepping. Like, we're not conceding. Tuesday, like we won't know the real decision for much later. Like they're already like pushing it months past. Like we're going to be having arguments and debates about who won the election, at least till Christmas. And then when it's decided that Trump has won, then it's going to be another 4 years of Russian collusion type nonsense.
I don't even know if I'm as optimistic as you are. It's a tough one. I'm going to show people what DraftKings has, the Vegas odds and all that stuff, which I think is really important. I think it's kind of wacky. But I just don't feel like no matter what happens, November 4th is going to be a rough day for a lot of Americans. Before we get into all of it, I want to remind everybody I'm fully demonetized on this platform. We are in month 17. So far, I haven't been kicked off of YouTube. I am doing an election special tomorrow with Slow News Day and Whitney Webb. We're not doing it on YouTube. It will be a Rockfin exclusive. Maybe I will stream it to Periscope as well. I want to remind people I'm a documentary filmmaker. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here in the playlist section. We're doing it Monday through Friday now. Monday through Friday on the Rockfin. We're there. We did it, John. We're doing it for free.
I've got some technique videos coming up on Rockfin. I'm also going to put the same technique videos on Gumroad for sale as a course. So you can either buy the course from Gumroad, or if you're already a member to Rockfin, you'll get all the techniques, 11 techniques, as a part of your premium membership.
And again, if you're a premium,
that's coming the next week or two.
And if you're premium with John, you get all of my archives as well. If you come and tune in live, I usually leave it free for most of the day so you can check it out. Guys, I only uploaded about 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes of what I did today on an almost hour-long show. So Rockfin exclusives are very real. You can find everything, John Fitch. How did I double you down here, Fitch? I doubled you down. We got two Fitches. Hold on.
Triple on my screen because I got a little box in the corner.
Let's get the actual Fitch thing going here. Let's copy. Let's do it live. It's johnfitch.net. Why don't you tell people about the bands course, John?
Well, yeah, I actually got three courses available right now for free on Gumroad, and that is kids wrestling, basic kids wrestling course you can do. You don't need partners, you don't need a gym, just an open space and some energy. I have a neck care, 90-day neck care guide. It's what I did for 90 days to help fix my neck. And then I have the resistance band training course. I have my own system for lifting, resistance training, lifting weights. So it's a Fitch Smash resistance training system. But I broke it down into resistance bands over quarantine. So You don't need a gym to get through the workouts, get jacked.
And you can find the audio version of this podcast over on thegruelingtruth.com. And the grueling truth is, I am a weakling, and I need so badly. I keep saying it week after week after week after week. And I have the bands, they're right outside of my door, John. I have
it's all about consistency, really. That's what the Fish Smash lifting system, strengthening system is. It's consistency. You're lifting like 6 days a week, but like no more than 30 minutes, 35. If you get after it 35 minutes a day, no problem.
I got to do it, and we'll see. We'll see what the depression looks
like.
You
can do it while you're like brushing your teeth, or like while you're cooking your eggs in the morning for breakfast. You can do sets with your bands in between doing that shit.
Well, my new thing now is I'm getting up at 8 a.m. because I'm going live at 10 a.m. because I'm going live at 11 a.m. Eastern, right? So by the time I shower and everything, get a coffee, it's like 8:30. I usually do spend an hour and a half prep, and then it's like, well, if I get up at 7, then I can start working out. Maybe I sleep a little bit better. I got the girls stomping around upstairs. They're still only in school, 2 days a week?
You gotta do your prep and hit your sets at the same time.
So I've got to do. How am I going to do that, John? That's a little like
you sit down, you do your prep, you get up, you do your set, you come back, like you get a little bit of break in between. You can set a timer even.
So you're saying I should have a keyboard next to me. Maybe that's the setup. I do a set and then I find a story.
You don't need a lot of space for those bands.
That's true.
You don't need a ton of space.
I don't have a ton of space here, but I guess I have the walls like right here, you know?
I mean, yeah, you don't the Zercher squats and that stuff. I mean, it's good, man.
And I'm standing around like all these MMA fighters now because it's once a month this caged aggression thing is going on. And like everybody's in shape and could choke me out physically, no problem. I think some of the women could. There's absolutely no doubt about it. So it is, especially with all the riots that are coming, it's time. It's time. So I wanted to show this really quickly before we get started. This is DraftKings. And what they have essentially shown, what, did they take it down already? Come on. Don't tell me they already took it down.
They got censored. Dude, the China censorship is here, bro.
Dude, they did. Okay, there it is. Oh, my goodness. See, it wasn't there when I scrolled
already
first.
Making stuff disappear.
Hey, you've
Winnie
seen
the Who?
So basically, this is states betting. So this isn't voting. This is how people bet. Every single state, according to DraftKings, voted that Donald Trump wins tomorrow except for Colorado. Okay? So, I'm just pointing that out. That's a pretty good estimate of where we're really at.
Does this mean that people on the far left don't gamble? Could that be something that is part of like they don't have the money to gamble, or is that some kind of like thing in the demographic? You know what I mean? Because like California, everybody in California who's was betting on Trump. You know what I mean? Like that seems weird.
I don't know.
That's a weird. What is that? Weird economics or weird.
Is it that way, or is it like
Freakonomics? Is that one of those things?
Yeah, but think about it. Is it really that, or is it that the left-leaning liberals, right, over in California, like the Hollywood types and the bourgeois and the fashion industries and the hangers-on and all those people that you live around, and even like the latte drinkers, they may be like, yeah, we're voting Biden, but deep down they know they're not going to put any money on the fact he's going to win the country.
They might not even be voting. They're just saying things because they want to sound cool like everybody else. It's like they're not even. They don't really. It's just a talking thing. It's a cool thing to like know about, like who did what to who on 90210.
Well, I voted my absentee ballot. I voted in New York. I feel like Trump's got it locked up in Iowa, and plus I don't know that I would have actually been able to vote here. Like it was a whole process. Now I got to try to get to the DMV. In fact, after this, I got to call the local court in upstate New York for the 92 and 65 I got when I was going back to get my car. That should be a fun one. And try to plea that down or get that moved. Man, and that's small potatoes to what's about to happen. I mean, John, all right. We've had a pretty fucked up, 8 months now, right? We were kind of giggling back in March. I'm not giggling anymore. I don't know about you.
I mean, I don't know. I'm still giggling. I think it's hilarious. Because I mean, it's man, it's the people who are lumps on the log, people who aren't really paying attention, people who are just trying to get by and with their lives, and they're not trying to excel. Those are the people who are really going to be impacted the most.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if you're not a go-getter, like, whoops. It's kind of the ant and the grasshopper, old wives' tale, you know. Grasshopper didn't do anything but play music and goof around. And the ants put everything away and prepared.
Yeah, but all right, let me ask you something, because you've still got Boomer and Toots going on. How does Toots feel about the fact that now Cuomo is saying if you fly in, you have to have a negative test 3 days?
Okay, so that's the thing is they put all these regulations and they say they're doing all of these things, but like they're not actually enforcing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like this was her allegedly. Somebody told me allegedly. I'm not going to throw anybody on the bus, but like they say, okay, you go over here and check with this person, but like nobody like makes you go over to the person and check with them.
And you don't think that they're going to put stringent rules now that he's saying the mandatory test 3 days before? You think that's just talk?
It's all fluff, and it's all going to be administered willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy, we're going to mess with this guy because of whatever reason.
But what if you are one of the people they selectively enforce against? Like they see Jason.
Well, I mean, you stand that risk, but it's like they're going to selectively enforce, and on top of that, there's selective enforcement. It won't matter if you're breaking the rule or not. Like, who's going to stand up like, oh, wait, he didn't break the rules? Like, no, they're just going to come and take you away.
I don't know, man.
Didn't they already pass that NDA thing where they could just kidnap anybody?
Yeah.
Wasn't that already a thing?
Yeah.
So they have that. They have the contact tracing. They have this thing in New York. So, I mean, like, it's all building towards the same end point. We're becoming China. Yeah. They want to be able to make dissidents disappear. They want to track you everywhere you go. They're already tracking us everywhere through our data.
Oh, right? Would you watch that Social Network movie?
I think they now need a more overt way to grab us and trap us because it's too hard to like legally get us with their data. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Well, it's been 2 weeks.
It's just history. It's going to be a fight or not. I don't know. Be ready.
Did you watch any of the hearings?
Warrior in the Garden.
Yeah, well, I just moved to kind of the suburbs. You know what I mean? Like I'm outside of a city, but I'm in like a little neighborhood, and I'm not in the country. I've thought about the country, but I was trying to find a good school system for the kids. And honestly, their school system's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like even it's been.
That's the thing. Like a lot of Midwest places, like it's hard to find bad public schools.
Yeah. I mean the public school system.
It's a big Democrat city situation. For some reason, it's a mystery why that happens.
I wish you were wrong, but so far so good there. But at the same time, I wish I was a little bit more rural because I don't know where this is all going. And it just seems like if you watched any of the big tech hearings, right, Fitch? I mean, it was just calling for more censorship. Yeah. Nobody was like, hey, stop censoring everything. People were like, well, you don't censor Holocaust deniers or you don't censor people that are anti.
Why don't you censor these guys more?
Exactly. Yeah. Conspiracy theorists. And it's like, well, you didn't censor this quick enough. And it's like, what world are we living in where everybody wants to censor people and the guy they want to censor them for?
They're just making it normal to shut everybody up.
I mean, and they're doing it on behalf of a guy that can't speak. Have you seen him this week? Have you seen him?
Oh my God. He's having a meltdown.
The Obamacare. He thought he was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jacket and he wasn't.
He looked at it. He looked at the jacket. Yeah, I got an Eagles jacket on. Like, and I think this pandering like does anything to anybody. Like, oh yeah, you're wearing your Eagles jacket. You totally love that. Comes out to Despacito, like that's my favorite song. Like, look now all the sports ball fans will vote for me. Now all the Latinos will vote for me just because I held the phone up. Like, I just these people are so out of touch. I don't understand what is going on.
Well, I think they're also trying to build an illusion and an illusion of a narrative because they want to rig it, man. I think it's rigged.
Well, city. I mean, they want to try to rig it, and if they can't pull off they just want to be able to bitch and moan about Trump illegally being a president and just dragging their feet the whole 4 years and trying to prevent him from doing anything and just bitching and moaning. And it's just going to be a wash, rinse, repeat of the last 4 years. Oh, another Russian collusion bombshell. Get the fuck out of here.
But will it be, or will it be even worse because now we have the invisible enemy of COVID and the second wave and the IMF and the World Bank?
I think we're going to get more riots, more protests, more like sponsored disruptions for the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. That's going to just be small, but for the next 4 years, constantly just, see, the American people hate Donald Trump. And they're going to parade that up and whatever. But like, I mean, I don't know. For the most part, for your day-to-day, most of our lives aren't going to change much.
I don't know. Again,
many people. I mean, if you're making a lot of money from the internet and you're going to get censored, yeah, okay, that's a problem. But like for a lot of people, like if you're controlling your close inner circle, you've got your money handled, you've got your businesses and stuff coming,
Well, I mean, all right, let's look at some of the corporations that are already done. Like Friendly's was on its last leg.
What I'm saying is like, what's the real impact? Like in the presidents in our lifetime that we've had, like what huge change, it's a gradual, tiny change. It's not like overnight something crazy happens. Like, George W., that was the biggest thing that happened probably because he got us into freaking huge war and domestic spying opened up. But like that was a gradual rollout. And there was a lot of people who were involved in making that happen. It wasn't just like, just because this president happened. If Al Gore was president at the time, same shit would have happened. I don't think it would have stopped it.
No. Well, that's the scary part.
They're on the same team.
Well, that's the scary part, John. So, like, all right, Operation Warp Speed is real. The vaccines are supposed to roll out in the next few weeks, right? Cuomo's saying now if Biden gets in, they've talked about Cuomo being his AG. Cuomo said mandatory vaccines twice, 660 million doses. Said it yesterday. I played it. That's a big difference from Scott Atlas and Trump going, the vaccine's not going to be mandatory. Joe Biden is running on mandatory masks.
At the same time, though, it's man, how powerful is one person? How are they going to be able to just do a presidential order and force everybody to get a vaccine? And how many people are going to be compliant with that? Like that seems like a shitstorm.
Well, it seems like a shitstorm. I guess my fear is that you get Trump in there, and there's still a push for that mandatory vaccine somehow, some way.
I don't think there's any way to get a mandatory vaccine across Americans. They're going to have to convince us to ask for it. Mm-hmm. We are assholes, bro.
But you know what?
We are assholes. We're here. Take this. Fuck you. I'm not taking shit. Don't tell me what to take. It's going to save your life. I don't give a fuck. Like, we're Americans. We're not going to do it. Like, there's going to be a big swath of people who are going to say no. So it's going to have to be one of those things like in Star Wars where it's like, they applaud, the centralization of power. You've got to like convince the people that like, oh my God, we're so scared. We need this stuff so much. And they're not there yet. They're way far from that.
I think you're right in that sense. But when you start putting pressure on people on getting their checks that, you can only get a certain, we're going to roll these checks out for people, your UBI or whatever.
Yeah.
But
that is a thing that could, they could start saying, okay, we're going to start giving out, more these checks to help people out. People are asking for the checks. People are almost begging for communism already, because they don't have jobs and stuff like that. So if they're like, okay, well, hey, you get your check, but you got to get this vaccine first. Well, then I see that. Well, that's possible. That's plausible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's where it
starts. There's
still
be people who are like, nope. I'm American. I'm going to live off the land. I'm going to eat.
I am American, and I want to live off the land, John. God damn it, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know, man.
We got lots of squirrels in my neighborhood.
We got a lot of black squirrels in my neighborhood. Like,
we have black squirrels too.
Yeah.
I thought that was the funny thing. I used to think that was Huntertown, Indiana, a town back where I'm from, was the only town that had black squirrels, but we got them right around here.
They ate a bunch of our jack-o'-lanterns. Like, they're still actually munching on them. The kids haven't smashed them yet, but they keep coming back. They ate my one niece's Alana's just all the way up, and then they gouged the eye out of one of mine. Like, I'm like, what's going on here? And then I caught him in there. I like nature. And one of my favorite things right now is to go into my backyard. I got a little fire pit, pitted up, look into my backyard, sit on my porch, have a little Bluntarski, and think, everything's going to be okay. I don't know that everything's going to be okay, but I want to believe it.
It's going to be good enough.
All right. We've talked, a lot of fucking election stuff, and, geez, who knows what happens next week. Before we get into how your Halloween was, let's talk some fights. We did have the Halloween fights, but we had Khabib run through Gaethje. We haven't talked about this yet.
Yep. Yeah, we get a chance to talk about Khabib, and everybody I talked to was fairly surprised with the ease at which he kind of just walked through and mauled Justin. Justin's a tough guy, through him. Decent wrestler. But, I feel they're both kind of feeling each other out at the beginning, and after Justin landed a couple good shots, and Khabib just walked right through him. He felt his best and was like, okay, that's all you got. Let's get this done.
And I would say that even though he tagged him a couple times with 1-2 straight in the face, didn't back Khabib up at all. If I saw any kind of hole in his game, I would say it was the leg kicks that were probably the most effective. And it was in that second round, Gaethje actually lands a really severe leg kick right before Khabib does that final lunge and takedown. But once it was on the ground there, that transition from full mount to arm bar to triangle choke, literally putting him unconscious.
Yep. So man, and I've said this a lot. I feel tired of everybody saying this, but there's so much emphasis put on these guys to stand and trade and just do a kickboxing fight that a lot of their ground is garbage. 100%. They don't spend very much time on the ground at all. The time they do spend on the ground is spent, getting up or stopping progress so they get stood up. And in the games, I feel the wrestling and a lot of the jiu-jitsu games are severely underdeveloped in 2020 compared to 2010 because you're just not rewarded for being proficient on the ground. They want you standing. So guys just put all of their time and effort and training into standing.
And, there was a lot of hype around Gaethje because he was a wrestler. He hadn't had a lot of wrestling experience in MMA. And if you had to go way back to a WSOF fight where he had been taken down and you got to see a little bit of it, he didn't look that impressive. I still think that Justin is probably the legit number 2 guy at 150.
And that was what's the biggest thing about that fight was how easily Khabib dealt with him. And he's the clear number 2.
I agree. Well, you know what? Let's
number 2. Khabib needs to. I can see him retiring. There's nothing less up for him to do at that weight. Move up, or retire.
You know what? And there was a little scale controversy too.
Let him fight Usman. I put my money on him against Usman.
I'd love to see that fight. That's the super fight. And they were kind of complaining. I feel like he was in a good position to retire for another reason. The pay-per-view didn't do the kind of numbers they were hyping up, but I really feel that's because it was a midday fight, and it was a midday fight. Well, it was a midday fight that they also did not put a ton of hype around. There was, they did not pump that up like a McGregor fight. I get it.
They didn't. They didn't advertise that much, and I think part of that is because I think they do that shit on purpose, man. They know they can control how much money you're going to make if you're getting pay-per-view points, and they're like, oh, we don't need to put that much into this. Fuck him. They're petty. They'll do that type of shit. So again, he's got such a huge following in Russia that they may have just been like, hey, let's save the money on promoting him because he's already going to get this. He's already going to get this much juice from this fight because he's already got this fan base. Mm-hmm. Just let him run on his own name. We save a bunch of money on promotion. And then we say he's boring when he doesn't do the numbers that he probably should have. Win, win, win.
When he never looked better. There's some fights where, he doesn't get those kind of finishes or it takes him into round 3 or it's not as fancy. And I mean, he looked again. I don't think I've ever seen
precision. He was just surgically cut him up.
Exactly.
You know,
when you go from those positions as easily as he did against a top level guy in the second round, I mean, it made
him look like a blue belt, 100%.
Yeah, it was wow. All right, so let's talk about the other retirement. Because I think you're right. I think unless there's some kind of crazy super fight and there's the right kind of money, and maybe it's a year down the line where he feels like, because you never know how these fighters are going to feel when they stop fighting. That's their whole life. Yeah.
I have a conspiracy theory too that Khabib's actually a good person, and he's just tired of dealing with scumbags. Like, that's got to get to you. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not a saint, and that bothers me. Mm-hmm. Like I can at least have a smoke and a couple belts of whiskey to ease my nerves when I'm dealing with these people. But like, it can't feel good to like be that type of a person and then knowingly have to like shake hands and smile and like cut deals with these people.
Well, in the post-fight interview when Khabib was talking, he said, "Look, I know that Justin takes care of the people around him, and I respect that. That's another point that he put out there. I don't know. I don't want to think that the ride's over. Fighters are fighters, so I think there's definitely the possibility he could come back. It's not like he's over the hill. He never lost. He never came close to losing. So again, I think the possibility is there. Now, on the flip of that, you have the Anderson Silva fight this week, and Anderson Silva, I mean, other than that one flurry in the first round where he was stepping forward and trying to knock out Uriah Hall, obviously looks like a shell of his former self. Probably shouldn't have even had this fight. Dana said he was ashamed that he even let it happen, but they had it promised. But Silva wasn't even ready to give it up. Now, the question is, the UFC has another fight in his contract. They've said they won't do it. They'll obviously end up having to release him. Will Bellator pick him up?
Why not? I mean, they're going to get views. I don't see why they wouldn't pick him up. And they could use 85-pounders too.
So, even at
46, they could use more 85-pounders. Mousasi, Anderson. Did you watch that?
Oh, I watched it. I mean, listen, Mousasi looked great in the first round. I definitely thought he won the fight. But I think overall, just the whole pace slowed down after the second round because Lima started getting a little bit more of the upper hand, and I think Mousasi was a little more hesitant to maybe blow himself out. Right? I thought he was going to get the finish in the first round. Lima was able to thwart that, and Mousasi in his last fight, against Lovato Jr. looked that same way in the first round, and then end up losing the last 3 rounds. So I think that he pulled back a little bit. I mean, what was your feeling on that fight?
I was busy with Halloween.
Oh, that's right.
This weekend. I had the kids and costumes and all that. So I only got to see a lot of the highlights.
See that, but that was on Thursday night. That's the new Bellator night. That's not even Friday anymore. You got to get on that, bro. Yeah,
I know, man. I don't even know. I guess I need to set up like a Google alerts.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to follow my Twitter. But yeah, no, that was Thursday. That's the new thing. CBS Sports. So I don't know.
That's all the nerds out there. That's an app you can make. Just an app, an MMA sports app that just tells you when all the events are on your phone and give you alerts.
That was actually really early too. I think the main card on that one started at 7 or 8 Eastern. No, 8 Eastern. So it was done well before midnight. But that's the new thing. I think Bellator doesn't have anything coming up next week. It's really interesting to me because Bellator is, the next biggest organization. They're doing it in one spot at the Mohegan Sun. You have smaller organizations like Caged Aggression having 1,000 people show up. They're out there. The LFA having 500, 1,000 people show up at certain venues. When does it break through, and when does Bellator allow that same type of thing?
I'm sure a lot of it is because of the bigger corporations involved and the insurance. I don't think they want to risk somebody getting sick or somebody dying. That would probably be the worst nightmare for Viacom. They put on a show, somebody gets COVID and dies. Now they get sued for how much?
Yeah, but isn't Jacksonville football and Tampa Bay doing the same thing? And then the next thing is if those athletic commissions are letting it go, you got to think that the Mohegan Sun Athletic Commission, no offense, but like, they're going to be able to get away with a little bit more. And that arena is not small. I mean, you just fought in it.
And it's there's plenty you can space people out easily, and everybody's in the casino anyways.
Exactly.
Like they're sitting at the tables, they're not far apart from each other.
Yeah.
Like you can put people 6 feet away, make it 8 feet, be extra safe, and you can still fit a fifth of the people in the arena.
You could put 2,000 people in that arena with the stupid Orwellian rules that make no difference anyway. And I really hope that Scott Coker decides to step up. And here's the thing. Coker has that in with Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker has the in with Donald Trump, right? He's got to steal some of that UFC Trump thunder, baby. Dana White speaking at the convention, Jorge Masvidal giving speeches about wolf tickets and the Latino vote for Trump. Coker, what are you doing? What do you think? I mean, Coker's kind of mirrored the military thing with the UFC. Why wouldn't he take the opportunity with Herschel Walker?
Jason, these guys are not competitors. Nobody is trying to compete with the UFC. Everybody is complacent with, hey, you're number one. We're not trying to mess with you. We're doing our own thing. They actually work with the UFC. All the other promotions will undercut their own fighters, will fuck people over, will cut deals with the UFC. The UFC is the god, and everybody else just bows down to them. Nobody is trying to compete and go head-to-head with the UFC and win. They're not even trying. ONE FC is not trying. Bellator is not trying. Like everybody has accepted their place on the list, and they're happy with that. And they're because they all have their own money printing machine, because they all have their own little tiny monopolies where they're able to dominate and exploit the fighters. So like they have this money printing machine. So like they're not going to shut down that money printing machine. Like the UFC's money printing machine is way bigger, but like they're happy just to have their machine. So they're going to just keep it running.
They're just happy to get a little bit of that fight pass money and some money at the door, is what
you're
telling
me. A lot of the feeder promoters, like they're not going to say this stuff because they want to get on the fight pass. They want to get promoted. They want to get pushed. They want their fighter to get signed with the UFC when he leaves them, so that they mention their former LFA champ, right? So they're friends and buddies with them. Like everybody's in it together. It's everybody fucking over the fighters.
And I mean the LFA. I mean, they've been the main feeder organization for the UFC right now during this whole COVID 1984. I'd say 35, maybe even 40% of the fighters that we've seen have come out of there hands down. I'm watching them weeks before they're on the undercard or sometimes even on the main card at this point, And
so I get that, and that speaks to the UFC's monopoly also, because how does a smaller promotion now get involved in the sport at all? Because now he has to he can't compete with the other small promotion because they're in tight with the UFC because they feed people and they bend over backwards to feed the UFC. So how do they compete with the smaller guys? They can't, because all the best fighters want to go to that organization because that's a direct line to the UFC. They can't compete with a big organization like UFC because they own all the top talent. It's an ugly monopoly.
So what's going on with the court case right now? Are there any developments in that?
There are supposed to be announcements and stuff coming soon. They're talking about how to do it because COVID. So they're video conference, whatever, blah blah blah. But pretty much he's stated that he plans on granting our class certification.
Okay.
About bout class, not the image whatever class, but the bout class. So so we should be going to, that means we should be going to trial. Just, I don't know what the timeline is on that announcement, the finalized announcement and write-up or whatever. But he indicated the last time there was a meeting that if he had to make a decision today, he was going to grant class certification. He said 4 times.
Well, I hope it comes through. I mean, we're just in such very, very bizarre times. That would kind of be a sub-story on everything that's going on.
I mean, it's just, it's cool to get excited about. It's 6 years, 2014 we filed. 6 years, class certification. but like we haven't gone to trial yet. And even after the trial, we go to trial, we win, like they appeal.
Yeah.
So like we're looking at like another 5-6 years.
Easily. You gotta love it.
And they know this, and they're just stretching it out because they have, like I said, they have a money printing machine. So they're just going to keep printing this money, right? And then when time to pay the bill, at the end of all of this, they'll probably bail. They've already made their profit. They're cut out. They don't care about the sport or the business at all. They made their money. They're out.
Oh, Fitch. What big UFC events do we have coming up now? They just announced that Adesanya is going to fight who is it? Blokovic. I love that fight. I think that's a great fight.
At 85 or no, 205?
205. I think that's a great fight. I honestly, let's go. I think that Jan, that's the guy. Listen, if Jan can't beat Izzy, I don't know that there's anybody in either division that can beat Izzy. He destroyed Costa. He destroyed him. I haven't been on that guy's bandwagon. You know that. I'm always skeptical when they start hyping these fighters. But the bottom line is that he's kind of just...
If every grappler tries to kickbox with him.
Well, I don't even know that Costa even tried to kickbox. He fucking didn't throw anything. It was like an embarrassment of a fight. I've never seen him he looked like a deer in the headlights. So I don't think that you're going to get that with Jan. Jan's come out with heavy hands big time in the last year and a half. He's looked like a dominator. Ever since Rockhold got it, he's been on that tear, man. He's not playing around. So I like that fight. And then what's the other big fight they were promoting? Wasn't there a title fight?
Poirier and Conor. Isn't that being talked about?
Yeah,
it
keeps
coming up in the feed.
They're doing it. It's supposed to happen in January, apparently, but I just can't get excited about a violent rapist fighting against someone he's already beat. So, I don't know. Am I going to get taken off of YouTube for that? I'm sorry that Disney, ESPN, WME Entertainment, the UFC, Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and many others love and protect a violent rapist. That's how things really work. They love him, they promote him, and they know all about the fact that he beats and rapes women. I'm putting that out there. So no one else is going to say it. I'm going to fucking say it. Because it's reality. I don't live in fucking imagination land where that's okay. It's not okay. I'm sure, I'll get geared up as the fight comes up and there's more promotion. And hey, maybe he'll rape again. That's not out of the question. It's not like
usually it's not a one-time thing when you keep getting busted.
The last thing just kind of went away. They didn't charge him when he was with his security and whipped his hard dick out at a bar by a restroom in front of a married woman who wasn't like, yay! She wasn't like, excuse me, sir, that's a fine dick you have there. That's not what happened.
She wanted to look at it as a ginger's wiener.
I can't even fucking imagine. Can you listen, man? There's not a lot of situations that would really alarm me. But being a woman and being cornered at a bar at a restroom by probably a bunch of dudes in suits and then the McGregor penis, that's going to be a problem. That's PTSD.
Just walk around naked. This is my bar.
How could you ever eat Lucky Charms again? Like, ever again? You could never have them again. I don't know if I could drink whiskey again. Meanwhile, during the fights the last couple weeks for the UFC, all I'm seeing is Conor fucking McGregor and that goddamn Proper 12 whiskey commercial.
It's awful whiskey. It's terrible.
It's fucking awful.
It's a bastardization of whiskey. It's like several runoffs.
Is it? I haven't tried it. I refuse.
It's awful.
Is it?
No, my friend, the liquor store guy suggested it. Probably nobody was buying it, so he's trying to move it. He ended up refunding the money though. So it was a free bottle. It was a free bottle. We went and complained.
Did you? It was that bad, huh?
It took a while to finish, and I had to. It was bad to still finish it, but like I had to make Irish mules. I had to get the old mixers.
No, thank you.
Just finish it.
You couldn't even like proper 12 and Coke it, like Jack and like a
I don't like soda.
Yeah, it is sweet
But
as shit.
ginger beer, a little ginger beer, and whiskey.
Ginger beer.
It's good stuff.
All right, I got the Union of the Unwanted podcast coming up. Plus,
got the children's, got to take them through wrestling practice.
Yes, plus I've got to fucking try to deal with that court case that I really don't want to deal with. I'm hoping I get to talk to them. Guys, support the GoFundMe. Hopefully the apocalypse doesn't happen and johnfitch.net survives. There's a lot of rumbling that the internet might go down. I don't believe that. The podcast is over at thegruelingtruth.com. We do it every Monday. This is over a year now, and we hope the world doesn't end. I hope the world doesn't end, John. How about you?
That would be good. I've got some plans, some things I'd like to do. Still, I have a charity event seminar I'm doing this Saturday in Portland.
Okay. Tell people about it.
Yeah. And and then later this month I'll be in Maryland. Is it Maryland or Austin? I'm filming
Maryland or Austin are two different places, John.
I know. It's over east. It's east. It's on the other coast.
Oh
somewhere.
man. So wait, Boston.
I don't know. I just get on the plane and fly in the tube and I get there.
So you're doing Portland on Saturday. Do you know where in Portland?
I'm not 100% sure yet. I gotta look it up.
Go to John Fitch.
I fly blind a lot. I just show up places.
So basically follow you on Twitter at johnfitch.net.
Follow me on Twitter. I'll make some announcements. And then the people who are running the event. It's for a kid. The kid was like suffering from seizure type dealio.
Oh, geez. All right. Yeah. Okay. So this is like a child's charity.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, we'll see you next week. Fitch, I will see you next week, and hopefully we have a president next week. I'm not banking on it.
It'll enjoy the ride, guys. Enjoy the ride. You only gonna do it once. Get your clean, potable water ready. Your ammo set. Some popcorn. Enjoy the show.
All right, Fitch. We'll see you next.
Seats.
See you next week, brother.
Check you later.
Later.